I'm just going to say it. Toys are not for kids anymore. Period. Okay? At least not the toys that we grew up with. Hey, I'm Chris the Batman Statue Collector. Hope everybody's having a great day. I just wanted to do a little bit of commentary on toys and the fact that kids do not play with them these days. So all the toys on the shelf, who are they geared toward? They're geared toward people like you and me probably watching this video. Probably somebody born in the 70s, 80s, maybe 90s, maybe. Even the 90s might be pushing it. Whenever I was a kid, we had amazing cartoons, right? We had these amazing cartoons, and they were fantastic. G.I. Joe, Transformers, but basically all they were cartoons that were commercials for toys. And we bought the crap out of them, right? We bought these toys, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Superpowers, all these really great toys, and we had them and we loved them, right? And we bought so many of them. They were maybe like $2 or $3 a piece. Some of the bigger action figure sets, they were, $50, $60, sometimes more if you had the what was it, USS Flag from G.I. Joe, if you're lucky enough to ever get that. Star Wars, like all of these amazing lines that we used to have when we played with kids, or when we were kids that we played with the toys. But now that I have kids of my own, now that I work in education, kids do not play with toys. Kids do not. Maybe when they were very, very little, they might have played with a few, but they do not play with toys anymore. And they do not use their imaginations anymore. And maybe that is for all of the social media and the fact that they watch YouTube constantly, or TikTok, or they watch influencers play video games. And they don't even play the video games themselves sometimes. They just watch other people play video games. Or it boggles my mind, but kids these days have lost the ability to use their imagination. They don't go out and play. And again, whenever I was a kid, we would go out and play outside for hours. Your parents would say, be back at dark. You could go all the way across town, and it was safe. We took care of ourselves. We took care of our stuff, right? What happened to those days? I know the world grew up and the world got a little scarier, right? But those days are long gone. And so you still see toys on the shelves. But who are those geared toward? Again, in my opinion, they are geared toward the adult collector. The adult collector that has nostalgia, okay? I became a Batman fan because I liked Batman as a kid. I like Star Wars. So if I collect Star Wars, it's probably because I liked Star Wars as a kid. All of those franchises. We had the best of the best. If you grew up in the 80s like I did, we had the best toys, the best franchises ever. Period. And you might say, well, maybe if they brought all that back, if it would be popular again. No. Because kids these days could care less. They could care less. So the companies are relying on adult collectors and that nostalgia. If there's a new Ghostbusters movie coming out, are there going to be Ghostbusters toys? Yep. Who's probably going to buy them? 50-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably the way it's going to be. I'm just trying to shoot straight from the hip here. That's just the way it is. Kids do not care about toys anymore. They might care about sports. They might care about watching people play sports. They might care about video games and all of that stuff. And there are certain kids that will still play with things. Like if it's a $7 action figure, they might play with it for a little bit, but they're going to get tired of it really fast. I feel like there are exceptions like Legos. I think Legos are universally accepted whether you're a little kid or whether you're an adult. There are some of those lines that do blur the edge between toy and adult collector. But I don't think, we collect, if you're watching this channel, you probably are a statue collector or collect something. And Batman, Superman, all of these characters that we love, that we grew up with, kids these days could care less, and they're not going to collect. So I would imagine that some companies, some groups out there are freaking out a little bit, because whenever our generation dies out and quits collecting, will there still be a collectible market? I want to hear what you guys have to say, because I don't think there's going to be much of one. My kids are not going to collect, and if they do collect anything, like my son collects shoes. He likes shoes. Or they collect guitars or things like that, but I don't think they're going to collect the figures. They're not going to collect the superheroes. They're not going to collect that. Now again, there's always going to be that small pocket of people that probably will, or there are kids that might. But the kids that I talk to every day, the kids that, are in my life, my own kids, they just could care less about that stuff. They could care less about the collectibles that we have necessarily. Again, if you're in the, the over 40 crowd. But it is interesting that toys these days are not for kids, really. They are for the grown collector that are going to go and drive across town to try to find the newest figure, right? These figures that are, maybe let's say $10 on up, $20, $30 figures, catering simply for the adult collector, right? Because they know that we'll buy it. We are collectors at heart. But it is interesting to me, and I do feel like that will eventually die out, with our generation. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with me on this? Do you feel like toys are no longer for kids? And of course, there's always going to be hula hoop and frisbee and all that stuff that kids play with for a little bit. But kids do not have an attention span anymore either. If it's not a 5-second clip on TikTok, it's very difficult for them to ever stay focused long enough to do anything, which is why I feel like social media has had such a negative effect for kids, which is why kids shouldn't be on social media, but parents put them on them all the time because they're now a babysitter, right? It's easier to say, hey, Jimmy, go watch TikTok for 5 hours instead of bothering me, because I'm going to be watching TikTok for 5 hours. I feel like it's a society problem for sure. Well, that's not necessarily what we're here to talk about, but I feel like there has been a trickle-down effect that has affected toys. It's affected the way the kids play. That they don't have any imagination anymore. It just boggles my mind, because that's what we did. We used our imagination. We created forts, and we created, these worlds with our figures, or again, just our imagination. Even if we didn't have figures, we played with our imagination. But those days, I think, are long gone, which is unfortunate, because I feel like that is what breeds creativity. But it is a shame, because there's so many great properties out there, great toys, that I think kids would really like if they had the opportunity to play with them. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on this matter. I just thought it was an interesting topic. Do kids play with toys anymore? Not really. All the toys out there are catering to dudes like me, people like you. Let me know what you're thinking, guys. Let me know if you think I'm right on the money or not. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys. I love you. If you're new to the channel, thank you for watching me rant and rave today. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Hit the join button if you want early access to the videos, and it's a great way to support the channel, so thank you guys for that. Otherwise, I'll see you next time in the Batcave. Bye, everybody. Hey guys, thank you so very much for watching today, and if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button right here on the screen and check out these 2 awesome videos. I think you're going to love them. And also, please join us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I would love to have you join in all the fun. Thank you guys so very much for watching. See you in the Batcave.